All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about the future of housing, and I have to say I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, me too. This looks really cool.
So we have some pretty interesting sources to work with here. We've got one from CNET. It's called CES 2025, Inside the 100K Mini Smart House Revolution, which is just like, ooh, that's catching my attention right away.
Yeah, 100K for a smart house. Who wouldn't be interested in that?
Right. And then we're also looking at Life in 2050, a look at the homes of the future, which is, taking a much broader view.
Yeah, thinking really big picture with that one. Like, how are things going to really change?
Exactly. And we've also got an editorial from Samsung Newsroom Malaysia. This is editorial embracing the future of smarter homes with AI for easier living. So it's kind of like we're looking at the now, we're looking at the near future, and we're looking at like way out there 2050.
Yeah, how does it all connect? Should
Yeah.
be fun to see.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this all kind of comes together. So let's start off with those mini smart homes from CES 2025. The CNET article talks about this company, AC Future, and it sounds like they've been kind of making a splash at CES for a couple of years now.
Yeah, it sounded like they had some award-winning designs from CES 2024, but this year they've actually partnered with Pininfarina.
Oh, wow. So it's like stepping it up a notch.
Yeah, for those who don't know Pininfarina, they're like this legendary Italian design firm. They design a lot of those like really beautiful Ferraris.
Oh, okay. I'm getting the picture now. So we're not talking about, just some slapped together tiny house.
No, no, it seems like they're going for something a lot more, how should I say, elegant, maybe,
Yeah.
sophisticated.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not just concepts anymore. They actually have these full-fledged models, like the AI Few, AI THT, AI THD. I love the naming scheme.
Yeah, very futuristic.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're moving beyond just like the concept phase and actually have, models that are like, okay, this is a real product.
So let's talk about this flagship model, the AI VQ. It's a 400 square foot modular smart home, and it starts at $98,000.
I mean, under $100,000. That's pretty wild when you think about housing prices in, well, pretty much any city these days.
Right. Yeah, and it comes with all the bells and whistles, built-in speakers, home security, Wi-Fi. Like, it's not like you're roughing it in this place.
No, it's fully loaded.
And then the best part, in my opinion, is the modular design. So you can start with that 400 square feet, but then you can expand it up to 1,200 square feet by adding these different modules.
Oh, wow, that's cool. So it can grow with you, basically.
Exactly. So like if you start out, maybe you're just a single person, you don't need that much space. But then let's say you have a family or you decide, I don't know, you need a home office or you want to add a gym or something, you can just tack on another module.
That's really interesting. It's like adaptable to your life,
Yeah,
It changes as you change.
totally.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a smart home, so you've got AI controlling everything, like lighting, heating, cooling, all your appliances.
Yeah, and I think that actually ties in nicely with that Samsung editorial we were talking about.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people are looking for that kind of control and efficiency in their homes.
Right. They want things to just kind of, I don't know, work seamlessly, automatically.
Yeah, they want their homes to work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And AC Future is not skimping on sustainability either. The AI2 comes with solar panels, a water recycling system, and get this, atmospheric water generation.
Whoa, wait, explain that one. Pulling water out of the air? How does that even work?
It's pretty wild. Basically, it extracts moisture from the air and purifies it into drinking water.
That's incredible. It seems almost like science fiction,
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's real technology, and they're putting it in these homes. Plus, they have off-grid capabilities. So, if you want to live off the grid or you just want to be prepared in case of an emergency, you can do that too.
And thinking about 2050, those off-grid capabilities could become really, really valuable, especially with all the uncertainty around climate change and resource availability.
It's like having your own little self-sufficient oasis.
Exactly.
Oh, and they have some other interesting offerings too, like a 24-foot home trailer version if you're into the whole like tiny house on wheels thing. And then they have the AI THD, which is a drivable home.
Oh, wow. Like a high-tech van life situation.
Yeah, pretty much. But here's the thing that really caught my eye. If you want to pre-order one of these homes, they strongly encourage you to use tokens from this cryptocurrency firm called Biomatrix.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's going to be like a trend, buying homes with cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's definitely unconventional. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But, CNET does end the article on a cautious note. They say we still need to see how all of this technology performs in real-world conditions.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it sounds amazing on paper, but the proof is in the pudding.
Exactly. But still, the fact that they're aiming to start deliveries in late 2026, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it seems like they're serious about bringing these to market.
Okay, so that's a taste of the near future of housing. Now let's jump way ahead to 2050. The other article we have, it paints a pretty dramatic picture of what life might look like then.
Yeah, it talks about how two major forces are really going to shape things: rapidly accelerating technology and rising global temperatures.
So like a double whammy of change, right? On
Yeah.
the one hand, you've got all these incredible technological advancements that could solve so many problems. But then on the other hand, you've got climate change, which could create a whole host of new challenges.
Right, and those two things, they're not separate, they're interacting with each other. It's going to be a really complex future.
Totally. So the article highlights four key areas that are going to be impacted by these forces. And I have to say, some of these are pretty mind-blowing. First up is the growth of urban centers. We're talking massive population growth. Like the global population is projected to hit 9.74 billion by 2050.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
I know, right? And of those people, 68% are expected to be living in urban areas. So that's about 6.6 billion people crammed into cities.
So cities are just going to get more and more crowded.
It seems that way, yeah. And the article points out that this is going to put huge pressure on resources. Like, where are we going to get enough water, energy, food, housing for all those people?
That's a good question. It seems like a recipe for disaster,
Mm.
with climate change already stressing those resources.
Yeah, it definitely paints a bit of a bleak picture. But on the flip side, the article also talks about all this incredible technology that could potentially help us solve some of these problems. Like, imagine a world where the Internet of Things is a full-blown reality. We're not just talking about, you know, your smart refrigerator ordering groceries. It's like everything is connected and communicating with each other, and augmented reality, virtual reality, those are going to be seamlessly integrated into our lives.
It's like the digital world and the physical world are merging.
Exactly. And think about things like door-to-door delivery services. The article says those will probably be fully automated with like smart cars, shuttle pods, drones, no more waiting around for your package.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And they also talk about how home offices are going to become super common,
Yeah.
like ultra-high-speed internet,
Yeah.
sophisticated virtual meeting capabilities.
It's like the office is coming to you.
Right.
And maybe the craziest thing, household robots. Like not just robot vacuums. We're talking robots that can do pretty much any chore you can imagine. Cleaning, maintenance, cooking.
Imagine that. You come home from work and your robot has already cooked dinner, cleaned the house, mowed the lawn.
Right. It's like living in the Jetsons.
But the question is, what do we do with all that free time?
That's a good question. Maybe we'll all just sit around and watch VR movies. But seriously, it does make you think about the implications of having all this extra time on our hands. And it's not just about the robots. The article says we'll probably have these super advanced AI managers that are like connected to all our devices, learning our habits and helping us manage our energy consumption, our budgets, everything.
It's like having a personal assistant, but for your entire life.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The article talks about a shift towards decentralized systems. So imagine this. Instead of relying on big power plants and these huge power grids, we're generating our own energy locally using things like solar, wind, geothermal, even biomass.
Wow, so every building could be its own little power plant.
That's the idea. And, they do say that the power grid probably won't go away completely because there's this potential for fusion power.
Ah, so fusion power would still be a centralized source.
Yeah, it seems that way. But even if we do have fusion power, having decentralized energy generation would still be a huge advantage. Like, what if there's a natural disaster or some kind of grid failure? You'd still have power.
Yeah, it would definitely make us more resilient.
Exactly. And this decentralization idea isn't just limited to energy. The article talks about how it could apply to things like politics, with virtual town hall meetings becoming the norm.
It makes sense. If everyone has access to high-speed internet, and we have technologies like blockchain, it can make it a lot easier for people to participate in the political process.
Right. It's like taking power back to the people.
I like it.
Okay, are you ready for the most mind-blowing part?
Hit me.
Green megacities, or as they're sometimes called, arcology.
Arcology, what is that?
It's basically a vision of a city that's designed to be completely sustainable, like integrating architecture and ecology to create these massive self-contained environments.
So it's not just about building eco-friendly skyscrapers, it's about rethinking the entire concept of a city.
Exactly. And the article talks about all these amazing features like urban farming. We're talking community gardens, vertical farms, hydroponics, insect farms, even aquaponics. So basically, we're growing our own food right there in the city. And then there's rainwater capture, gray water recycling to conserve water. And get this, 3D food printers.
Wait, so we're printing our food too. This is getting wild.
I know, it's like something out of a movie. And to deal with all the carbon dioxide, they're talking about using carbon capture technologies like artificial trees that pull CO2 out of the air. And some of these technologies can even convert that captured carbon into biofuel.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's like these cities are almost completely self-sufficient.
That's the goal. They even mentioned some real-world examples. There's Crystal Island in Moscow, although that one got postponed. And then there's a Masdar city in Abu Dhabi, which is actually under development, and they're aiming for it to be carbon neutral.
So it's not just a pipe dream, it's actually happening.
Well, some of it is happening, but it's still early days. And speaking of ambitious projects, what if we have to deal with serious sea level rise? The article explores this concept of cities at sea, basically taking these arcology ideas and making them float. So imagine like a giant floating city.
Okay, now that's straight out of science fiction.
Right. But they do have some specific examples, like the Boston Arcology, which is this huge, sustainable megastructure they've proposed for Boston Harbor. And then there's Harvest City, which was a concept for floating modules for Haiti after the earthquake in 2010. And then, of course, there's the Lily Pad City, which is a self-sufficient floating city designed for climate refugees.
So if things get really bad, we just jump ship and live on the water.
Well, it's not quite that simple, but these ideas are interesting because they show how we might have to adapt if climate change really starts to reshape our planet. And then there's the New Orleans Arcology Habitat, which is this triangular city designed to be resilient against storms. And finally, my personal favorite, the Shimizu Megacity Pyramid in Tokyo Bay.
A pyramid city. Now that's just showing off.
I know, right? But it does rely on the future development of these super strong, lightweight materials, so who knows if it'll ever actually be possible.
Just like we've gone from tiny homes to mega pyramids in like 5 minutes.
I know, it's a lot to take in. But what's interesting is that the Samsung editorial kind of bridges the gap between these near future and far future ideas, because it's talking about how the smart home revolution is happening right now.
Right, like all those little things that are making our lives easier today, they could be setting the stage for something much bigger.
Exactly. And the editorial talks about how consumers are really interested in things like better control over their appliances, saving energy, and simplifying chores. They even have some data from a study they did in a few Asian countries, and it shows that a large percentage of people are actually willing to pay more for appliances that have these smart features.
So the demand is there.
Yeah, definitely. And Samsung is responding by putting a lot of AI into their appliances, like refrigerators that can help you plan meals and manage your grocery list, washing machines that can optimize their cycles to save energy, air conditioners that learn your preferences and adjust the temperature accordingly, and of course, personal home assistants with voice control and smart cameras. Those are becoming more and more common.
And it all ties back to what we were talking about earlier with the AC future homes, like that desire for convenience, efficiency, sustainability.
Totally. And, the Samsung editorial ends by saying that the smart home revolution isn't something that's coming in the future, it's happening now. And I think they're right. It feels like we're on the cusp of some pretty big changes in the way we live.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So, what do you think? We've talked about these tiny smart homes, these massive green megacities, these crazy floating cities. What kind of living space do you see yourself in this future world?
That's a tough one. I mean, the tiny smart home sounds pretty appealing, just in terms of like the freedom and flexibility it offers.
Yeah.
But I also like the idea of living in a community where everything is designed to be sustainable.
Right. It's like, do you want to be independent and self-sufficient, or do you want to be part of something bigger?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
And we've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore in these articles. Like, if you're interested in the specifics of atmospheric water generation or carbon capture, those are just two examples, but I would definitely encourage you to check out the original sources. And think about it, what other questions do you have about the future of housing? It's a topic that affects all of us, so it's worth thinking about.